Hey, how's it going? It's Keith Townsend from the CTOadvisor.com with today's CTO Daily Dose. We're going to ask a question that I don't think gets asked in the mainstream pretty often. Uh, Tip of the cap to my good Twitter friend, Meriden, or Matt Oswalt, who brought this up at Interop, at least to the main stage a couple of years ago. And the question is, can we bring CI, CD, or better yet, infrastructure as code to traditional networks? This is a question that doesn't get asked too often because some of the big web scale or hyperscale vendors are now doing this. So all of your ISPs, whether it's AT&T, Verizon, CenturyLink, etc., starting to get into this adoption of NFV, network function virtualization, where they take virtualization attributes from x86 virtualization, apply that to their network so that they can roll out services faster. With the abstraction of their network, that also means that they can implement infrastructure as code because they're no longer working with these physical devices only, but these logical constructs, load balancers, routers, firewalls, even virtual switches, and they can now create versions and version controls of each configuration of each device and roll that out programmatically. So the question that Matt proposed a couple of years ago was, can regular enterprises do this with traditional command line based API or even API driven switch hardware, top of the rack switches? Can I approach this from a infrastructure as code perspective? Can I have code vaults and as such and create versions of configurations, which limits the number of mistakes that are made in configuring switches? You know what? I think it's a good question. In practice, is it possible? Well, Matt worked for eBay at the time. That's public knowledge. And eBay was doing much of this. They were taking physical switch configurations and using infrastructure as code, CI, CD, continuous integration, continued development methodologies to apply that to their operations. This meant that high level engineers, so the architects, could design workflows and solutions that they could then hand off to lower skilled engineers or administrators to implement. So instead of administrator going in and creating a VLAN, creating ACLs, that automation was created higher the stack. They put in a ticket, and that automation was done via the automation system. And then it was then they were using something like a Jenkins to make sure that it passed basic configuration test, and then you could have somewhat of a CI/CD environment. I'm not going to answer that question fully. I think Matt does a really great job over on his website, keepingitclassless.com, pun intended, on going at these development questions. He's had a whole open source project in which he's contributed basically code to allow your own environment to leverage CI, CD, hooks into Jenkins, automation scripts, and the like. This is more or less a plug for that type of mentality when it comes to approaching network infrastructure. That's it for this CTO Daily Dose. More of a hat tip to Matt for pioneering a lot of this stuff. Talk to you guys next CTO Daily Dose. You can visit me on the web, thectoadvisor.com. Of course, you can follow me on Twitter at CTO Advisor. Talk to you guys next Daily Dose.